What's up, everyone? We're back. You thought you could get rid of us, but we are right back. All right. So, in this episode of the podcast, we're going to be talking all about landing pages. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, what you definitely should not be doing with your landing pages. And we're kind of going to talk you through what the world's most perfect landing page would look like. Now, obviously, I know that if you're listening into this live stream right now, not everyone is a world class web designer. And trust me, we're not going to get too technical on you. But what we want to do is we want to give you some really good reference points so that you understand exactly what you're looking for when it comes to your web design. I'm joined as ever by Pamela Wagner, ex Google Ads consultant, Forbes 30 under 30, and she's optimized over 3,000 Google Ads accounts. I've also done quite a few things in the Google Ads space. I've been running Google Ads for the past 7 years, and I've helped over 100 entrepreneurs on tiny little budgets get better results with Google Ads. So, what I want to do and what I want from you if you're watching this episode, I'm going to put a ticker below. I want you to ask us anything to do with anything when it comes to landing pages and what we're going to discuss. And on top of that, if you have any comments or if you want to share this video, we would highly appreciate that as well. All right. So, with that being said, I guess the first question is, Pam, why do I need a landing page at all? Why can't I just use my website?
So it's almost like if you are going out of the house with a pajama to a business meeting and then expect people to instantly like you, right? We form our first impression within the first couple of seconds, right? And so if somebody shows up in a pajama to a business meeting, I'm probably not going to want to do business with them, right? Unless I know that they're of huge value to me, but that's not what happens oftentimes, right? I'm still going to form an opinion. And so that's the same what happens when people come to do business with you, even if they're a retail customer or B2C, right? They go to your website, which is kind of like the general aspect and, talks about what you generally do. But if they go to a specific landing page, it talks to them how it is relevant for them, right? So you're pretty much putting on the business suit here and saying, hey, you know what? I know why you came here. I understand the issues and the problems that you're facing. And there's a high chance that we can solve them if you fit, let's say, XYZ criteria of our customers, right? So, personal example, I can have a very general landing page for shameless plug our optimization guide, or I can have one that says, hey, here's a Google Ads optimization guide for dentists. If you are a dentist and if you are struggling with Google Ads right now, then we can help you because of XYZ. And so that's also what ended up happening. Like the themed landing pages perform a lot better than if I just keep it general.
I get that. I understand that. But it's my job to play devil's advocate on this podcast, and I
Yes.
do it quite well. Why can't I just have a website that speaks to all different kinds of people? I'll have pages for all of my services, and I can just make money off of everyone. Like, and why do I have to be so specific? Because if I'm talking to the dentist, I'm going to lose out on the lawyers. And if I'm talking to the lawyers, I'm going to lose out on the dentists, and I'm going to lose out on the, I don't know, the architects. So why can't I just say this optimization guide is just for everyone? Everyone is welcome.
So, unless you're Amazon, that's just not what's going to happen because everybody is never your customer. And even Amazon actually customizes its landing pages. Amazon shows you what you recently searched for, what you liked, right? It has this whole algorithm going on in the background that says, hey, based on your recent purchases, here's what else you could like, right? And the other issue is if you just say, hey, here's my range of products, choose, people don't have time for that. People don't have the patience for that anymore, right? They want to know, hey, what you offer me right now in less than a minute, how does that serve me? How does that help me solve my problems, right? And of course, that's made marketing a lot more complex in the past 10 years, but that is just where we're at right now. So fighting that doesn't help you grow your business. You just got to adjust to what works for the customers if you want to keep selling your products and services.
Yeah, I like to say that people are information rich and they are time poor.
Yes.
They are information rich and time poor. I'll give you an example. If you guys are watching the live stream right now, you could have been watching any other live stream, but you probably saw that the thumbnail was catchy and you decided, hey, you want to really see what we have to say. And I see we have a hello here from Miss Said. Hey, hello. How you doing? Thanks so much for joining us. But at the end of the day, if people are information rich and time poor, you have to understand one thing. They are only going to focus on what's important to them right now,
Mhm.
right now, and right at this moment. And this is why landing pages are so important. Now, you e-commerce owners that are watching this, you're probably going, oh, that's for the website guys, your electricians. That's not for me. I'll tell you a funny story. I was doing a course on Google Shopping ads, and I'm going through this guy's criteria, and he talks about your product pages. And he tells you what you need on your Google, on your little product page, on your Shopify website, or on your Squarespace website. And guess what? You have to talk about why the client needs the product, what they're going to lose by not having the product, what has happened when other people have purchased the product, like what are the good results that the product has given them. And also you have to quickly answer any objections that they might have to buying your product, like is it going to be too big for my room if you're selling pool tables, or are the couches are the cushions comfortable on the couch. So even if you're in e-commerce, when somebody lands on that page for your product, it's basically a landing page. What we're going to teach you in this podcast episode is going to apply anyway. So you might as well listen up.
And I was just
And
trying to
then,
bring up a landing page here from Nike that I recently was on because it was so good in terms of like the phrasing, because it was a product, right? Let me see if I can bring it up. Yes. Ah, this is brilliant. And I hope I can still order that shoe because gosh, it looks amazing. So they don't just describe the
by the way,
product.
I'm gonna pause there. You know that me and Pam are really crazy people, because normally when people see advertising and marketing and stuff like that, they're like, I don't want to buy anything right now. We look forward to seeing ads. We look forward to seeing landing pages. We look forward to seeing stuff being done right. So yeah, I just found that a little cool that me and you have the same reaction when we see a landing page.
Yes, yes. It's like once you're an entrepreneur, you cannot help but think of like the business dynamics of certain aspects, even when you if you walk in an airport, if you go into a restaurant,
Yeah.
right? So, what I want you to look at here, I mean, this is a shoe, right? It's a cool shoe, but Nike doesn't just say asymmetrical design or like hey, this is a beautiful color. What it says, it blends great strength, power, and good luck of a mythical dragon, right? With a calming
Wow.
aura, right? And it says, okay, it's made with airstream units and side-to-side stability, which is a little bit of product information. And it's like, it's made to unleash your inner might and smash whatever comes your way when it's match point. Like, what an emotional description. I'm like, hell yes, I want to feel strong, right?
I want to feel
Like,
like a dragon. Yes.
yeah, I want to smash whatever comes my way because right now there's a lot of stuff coming my way, good stuff, right? But I'm like, yes, I want to feel that. Like, I don't buy a product, I buy an emotion. And that's what I tell, like, even when I sometimes teach at universities, and the course is actually coming up soon. And I tell all my students, like, when you do advertising, consider people buy emotions, they buy emotions, not products, right? So there's an um exemption to that when you do Google Shopping ads. This is when you should have
Yep.
specific keywords in the description. But other than that, make sure it really speaks to the moment, right? Like when you show me a pretty dress, tell me how good this gonna look like when I go on a date,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
The
yeah.
one the one thing that I'm going to say, it's a beautiful page, by the way, Pamela. It's an awesome example. Thank you so much for that. Perfect. Knocked it out of the park. Man, I should have had some beautiful pages lined up. I'm so jealous right now. Anyway, so here's the thing. I struggled with sales for a long time. Okay. I started off selling real estate. I wasn't very good at my job. I think I sold one house in 9 months. So I got fired from that. Then I joined a car dealership and I got fired from the car dealership as well. Then I joined a second car dealership. And eventually, I took a course on selling because I was like, obviously, something's up. Something's up here. And the guy said something very simple, and it always stuck with me. You can only get the buyer of something to be excited if you're excited about it. Okay? So let's take this, let's look at your landing page now, right? Let's look at your website. Does it excite you when you look at your website? Do you feel like, wow, this is a beautiful website? It's amazing. If you don't feel that way about your landing page or about your website, well, guess what? Your clients are going to feel exactly the same way. They're going to feel exactly the same way. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that when somebody comes onto your landing page, that not only is there a whole bunch of logical reasons to do business with you. I mean, Nike is Nike, guys. Nike could just say, yeah, we're Nike and you should buy this running shoe because we say it's the best shoe. So if Nike goes out of its way to do all of this effort in its copywriting for a shoe, that is 0.00001% of its gross yearly revenue.
Yeah.
But you don't want to spend the time looking at your website. You feel like that's beneath you.
Yes.
You see what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Your customers are going to look at your website like it's beneath them to even be on that website, and they're just going to move on.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a really good example, right? If the big ones do it, then you can do it too. And I know Messiah said here, copywriting and selling really takes some dedication. Well, with the help of AI, one of the tools we've been loving recently is Claude.ai. It's so much better than ChatGPT or Gemini, and it makes anything copywriting related so easy. Like the output it delivers is incredible. A lot of times we don't even have to adjust it anymore. I might want to adjust it because certain platforms, Google not really, but certain platforms are still a little bit picky about AI generated content, which I understand. But you don't have to hire a copywriter anymore, right? You might want to hire a graphic designer, like even with our own website, ajoladigital.com. I recently hired a new graphic designer. I'm now having her review everything and redo it. Like our website doesn't stay the same for a whole year. It changes every other quarter, right? In order to reflect the developments, in order to reflect the customers, in order to reflect what we're doing as a business, right? So you should do the same. Unfortunately, a website isn't anymore a once in 5 years I'll do it and it's done. You have to keep adjusting it. Plugins keep getting updated, keep like smashing your code and everything, right? So have a designer, go over your landing page design, and then have a separate person, a web developer. Please do not have a web designer, web developer be one person. Please don't. And then have your web developer implement that, right? That way you're going to get the best result.
I think what we should do is, we haven't done this on any podcast episode before. Let's explain to them the different people, right? So some of you are saying over there, why can't I just have one of those copywriters / developers / web designer / UX guys do my website, all of them at the same time, right? And I'm going to break this down for you. It is like saying that you want the mechanic to design the car. Terrible idea. You do not want the mechanic anywhere near the design process. And you might be saying, yeah, but the mechanic knows so much about cars. Yes, they do. They know how to get a car going. They know how to make it work, and they know how to maintain it. Same thing with a web developer. A web developer is a perfect person if you want your website to function properly, to talk to different software systems. That is a web developer. Code, that's their job. Unfortunately, customers don't go onto websites and see codes. They see photos, buttons, pictures, sliders, colors. So you need somebody who is more artistic. And this is where the web designer comes in. The web designer's only job is to make it as beautiful, stunning, and as emotionally compelling as possible. And if your website is not emotionally compelling, then get a new designer. Because frankly, this is something that your designer has to understand,
Yep.
right? So we have those two people. And the final piece of the puzzle is the copywriter. Pam, you want to tell them what the copywriter will do?
So we used to work with a copywriter for quite a long time who was great. And I think you should still work with a copywriter if you feel like marketing is not really your thing, right?
Yeah.
But a copywriter pretty much helps you create a text on the landing page that is compelling to your customer. So typically, a copywriter is going to ask you questions like, tell me more about your ideal customer. What's their age? Where do they spend most of the time? What do they like? What do they hate? Right? Have you had any reviews, any customer testimonials? What is important to them? What are some of the what's it called? When they reject the product?
Pain,
What are some?
pain points
Oh
or
yeah, what is
objections.
yeah,
Yeah.
objections. Thank you. God. Rejections, objections. Anyway, same. So, what are some of the objections that they might have that we could address here? And typically, they also help you to structure the text in a way that it makes sense to the customer, right?
Yeah.
Because I might describe my own product in a certain way, but it's most likely not what matters to other people, right?
Yeah.
So, let me give you a personal example. There's a lot of accolades to my name which help me with my credibility, but it does not matter to the client that we work with, because they're like, it's nice if you studied at a certain university, got a degree or whatever, but can you actually help me grow my business, right?
Yeah.
So I can mention the accolades somewhere for the credibility for Google and so on, but it shouldn't be the first thing I put out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing that I'm going to say as well, and those are beautiful points, Pamela, is if we think about this logically, back in the days, every single business had a salesman, right? So you walk into a shoe store, there was a salesperson there. You would walk into a car dealership, there was a salesperson there. You would walk into, I don't know, like a clothing store, there was somebody to assist you. When it comes to websites, you don't have a salesperson there's no one who jumps out of the screen and says, hey, how can I help you, you're looking for this. So this is why a landing page is so important. You can think about your landing page like the digital version of a salesperson. And obviously, if you had a salesperson, you'd want them to be smart, you'd want them to be funny, you want them to understand what the client is going through, so you'd want them to have empathy. And this is why the landing page is so important. And guys, you watched my YouTube channel, like you've seen me and Pamela roast pages for like 2.5 hours. I promise you this, we've got better things to do with our time. We would not be emphasizing this one thing if it wasn't one of the most important things when it comes to advertising. Your landing page is your salesman. If you do not have a landing page, you are not going to sell. It's just that simple. And if you have a poorly designed landing page, you're probably going to sell poorly.
So I think, that's a really important point for people to understand before they invest in ads, right? And so I especially tell that to people who are saying like, oh, I got like $500 for ads, or sometimes even 100 or like 1,000. I'm like, rather put that first in a website optimization,
Yes.
and then we can talk about spending that on ads, right?
What is
Um,
their reaction when you say that?
and by the way, she's trying to get us live on Instagram, multitasking. And I'm a woman, but I cannot multitask well. Let me tell you this. Their reaction is like, well, yeah, but then they still do it anyway, right? Because you don't believe it the first time you hear it. And they then end up spending or wasting a lot of money and wonder why nothing is converting, right? And sometimes in the beginning, like let's say you create a new funnel, like a new customer journey or a new landing page, it's okay to drive a little bit of traffic towards it to see how the landing page performs. But like, don't go all in, like, especially like where I'm at right now in California, people are saying, oh, you need to spend at least 10 to 15K every month on ads, right? Add to that, like sometimes even 8 to 10K in agency fees, right? And that's ridiculous, right? Like most times you can already get the first good results with like 2 to 3K, or in some countries even less, depending on the currency you're working with, right?
Yeah.
But oh God, please don't just fall for anybody that tells you need 10K to get started. Unless
Yeah.
obviously you're a big company like Nike, then you want to add some zeros to that. But the typical person, the typical mom and pop shop does not need a whole bunch of money to get started, right? But you should
Yeah.
have a good basis there in order to reduce your feeling of wasting money. Because a lot of like that's where a lot of like the being nervous comes from for people, and then they make wrong decisions. If we're nervous, if we are scared, we don't make good decisions in life and business, period.
Yeah. I also think, well, you know what? What I'm going to do is we're actually going to cut to an ad break. And when we get back, we're actually going to talk you through a landing page. We're going to look at different parts of the landing page. And we're actually going to go through it and we're going to show you where and how you can improve. All right. So let's go to the ads. And then after that, we will jump back in.
Now, since we're on the subject of ad setup and getting your ads set up properly, what I want to do is I want to offer you a chance to copy my personal ad settings. The ad settings that I'm using right now in my business to generate leads and sales. And you can do that with my Google Ads setup cheat sheet. Now, included in the setup cheat sheet is over 22 settings that I'm using right now to generate new business in my business. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to include a little mini course. So if you're a Google Ads beginner and you just want to find out how to get your first 100 leads, or maybe you just want to learn the dashboard so you can feel a little bit more confident, that's in there as well. Now you can find all of this at the link in the description below, and let's get back to the show.
All right. So we're back. We actually had a very good question come in
I
during
know,
the ad break.
right?
Right. Cool. So let's address that.
So the question is, don't you think everybody needs to learn how to write copy on their own? I agree to a certain extent. I also understand that there are some people who are highly analytical who are like, I do not have any interest in this at all, right? But the cool thing is, when you learn some basics of ad copy or copywriting, it'll actually help you improve your sales skills. It'll help you improve your communication skills, not just for your business, but also in your personal life, right? It'll help you understand emotions better. How do people function, right? Why do they make certain decisions? And the other aspect behind you learning certain things about your business is you can make better hiring decisions when you decide to work with a copywriter, right? Devin, what you got to
Yeah.
add there?
I don't think the majority of people know copy when it's done right. I think that's the problem. It's not that people aren't trying to learn how to write copy and understand copywriting. It's that when they get it right, they seldom try and add to the copy, increase the words, try and write more words. And that's what gets them into trouble. And I think this is a massive mistake that a lot of people make, is that we understand how to do a skill, or we think that we can learn things online, but where it really gets good, where you really start learning, is where you have a mentor, somebody that you can show it to, who's an experienced copywriter, and you can say, hey, what do you think of this? They give you feedback and you improve. This is also why I called my Google Ads community the feedback circle. It's because not only do I want you to create the ads and go on out there, yay, good for you, but how do you even know that they're good ads? How do you even know if you did the right thing or not? Like, how would you ever know if you don't come back for some feedback? And feedback is the most important thing. So yes, I do think that everybody needs to learn it, but I think the mechanisms that we need to learn copywriting properly on the individual level, I don't think a lot of people have access to that. It's a shame, but I don't think they don't. They do.
Yeah, the cool thing is now with tools like AI, you can literally ask it to train you, right? You can say, "Hey, can you please tell me what are like the top 3 things I should know about copywriting?" Okay, can you give me an example or a practice task that could help me improve my copywriting? And then you could write that and you could say, "Okay, now judge that on a scale of 1 to 10. how does this compare to some of the best copy out there, and so on, right?
Yeah.
So I would say there's a lot of different ways of how you can learn copywriting. Obviously, I would say still learning it from a human being is still the best way, right? Because you can get that direct feedback.
If they pull a face,
Um,
then you know it's bad. Like if you see the book.
yeah. And it's like, and the other thing I thought about, right, is also like, can you get the knowledge that we are right now sharing with you on AI? And I can tell you've tested it. No, you cannot, because that's some of the real tested practice knowledge that AI doesn't have available yet,
Yeah.
right? So yes, AI is good, but there are some limitations to it.
Yeah. And one thing that I've started doing, because I am horrible at writing email newsletters, I don't get them, I don't understand them, I don't know what to say in them. But what I started doing was, first I thought to myself, okay, I'm just going to ask ChatGTP to write them for me. And then I realized that is a terrible idea, because ChatGTP already knows all of the answers. I don't. I don't know how to write this thing, and I want to develop the skill. So what I started doing was I started writing my email newsletters, copy pasting them into ChatGTP, and I asked it, could you please critique this newsletter? I'm trying to sell this thing, and this is my call to action. It then went through the newsletter and it said, oh, you missed this point. I felt like you could emphasize this point a little bit more. You need to use more energetic words here and there. And that's how I kind of got better. Now, obviously, the temptation is just to be lazy and ask it to do it for you, but then you're always going to be helpless, because you wouldn't know when it's right. That's the problem.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I couldn't have said it better. So I think also going back to the developer versus designer versus copywriter example, right? I have a great developer. He does a good job. He, out of his own initiative, tried to help improve the design a little bit of the landing page, and I would say it's okay. But now that I have my graphic designer go over it, it's massive. The difference is 1 by 100, right? And that's not because one person is better than the other. It because it requires a completely different skill set and way of thinking, right? So, like, don't be mad at your web developer that he doesn't do a good design. That's not his job. That's not where his skill set is, right?
Yeah.
So it's your task to find the right person for that.
And also, guys, I'm just going to drop this in here. You'll find my private community link down below. We literally have a section inside the community called Roast My Landing Page. And what I do is, the whole week, my students are sending me landing pages, and I am just telling them, you did this wrong, you could have done this better, and stuff like that. It goes back to the feedback thing. And Pamela's absolutely right when she says it's not the developer's job, but I feel like as a business owner, we're always trying to cut costs. So we're always trying to give people more responsibility, and we're always kind of trying to pack more on them than what they're ready for. But this is not something where, oh, you're going to find a talented person and they're going to do all three. Been doing this for 9 years. I've been building websites for. I've never seen somebody who was great at the design part also be great at the coding part. Hasn't happened.
Doesn't exist.
Even me myself, I can create amazing designs. Don't ask me to code anything. I'll throw you in your face with water. I do not want to touch code. So trust me on that. All right. What I want to do is, I am not doing this as a flex or anything like that. I just literally don't have a good landing page to show you, or one that we can practice on. So what we're going to do is, we're going to look at my setup cheat sheet, and we're just going to talk you through the different parts of the landing page and what we're looking for. So the initial part, the top part right here, that's your header. Now, the biggest mistake that a lot of people do is they kind of come to the header and they start giving a client a whole bunch of options over here. Like, these are our services, this is our about us section, this is a contact us section. They kind of have links that lead to other pages. And obviously, when we tell business owners this, they say, but are you crazy? It's these are my products. The point of a landing page is to have everything the person needs to know in one place after they click on your ad. That's the point of a landing page. It is not a website 2.0. It is a landing page. It is something completely different. So the only option that somebody has on this page, you can see all of these buttons, is to either purchase the setup cheat sheet or they can leave. That is it. That is it. You might say, Devin, well, you might lose the client. Maybe you should offer them something. But as soon as we start mixing our messaging, this is when our ad performance falls off a cliff. And then we don't understand how we could have such amazing, good products and services, but nobody wants to submit their details for a lead. All right.
I think here's one tip I want to share with everyone. If they might think, well, Devin, you've got so much experience. Like, I'm so far away from this. Like, how am I ever going to get this done myself? You can literally take this landing page, the text on it, and ask Claude to rewrite it for your business with your business input.
Wow.
Right?
That is a high level tip. That is, we should be charging for that.
I know. The thing is, most people are still not going to do it, even when we tell them, right? So if you do this, you're going to be much further ahead. You still want to get somebody's feedback on that, right? But at least that helps you cross that first step of feeling overwhelmed and not knowing how to do it. It'll give you a feeling of what these tools can do, right? So you can do it with my landing page. You can do it with Nike's landing page. Hell, if you're a retailer, use Nike's product description. Say, hey, you know what? I'm selling shampoo. Can you please help me write a similar style copy for my shampoo? Obviously, don't copy and paste, right? And make it fit to your brand. But this is all more accessible and easier doable than you think, right? Like, all the tools already exist out there for you to get this done in less time. And if you need help, obviously click below on the links, right? Join the community, go there, right?
Yeah. Another thing that I want to mention as well is if you feel like this is an impossible task, you need to connect more with your client and what they're going through. A lot of people are amazed that when I have a consulting session with them, I'll just take the screen off for a second. I'll put it back on now as we talk you through parts of the landing page. But a lot of people are amazed that when I have a consulting session with a client, the client thinks they're going to show me their ads, show me their website, show me their numbers, show me and I don't want to do any of that. They want to show me, they want to start sharing their screen. I'm like, stop, right where you are. And the first thing I ask them is, I say, how are you? And obviously they tell me how they are. And the next thing I ask them is, what are the problems that you have now in your business that are really pissing you off and that you wish you could solve? And what do you think that I'm going to do for you today that's going to help you solve them? Now, obviously, their first generic answer would be, yeah, but we want our ads to do better. And the first question I have is, why do you want your ads to do better? You have to go through that process with people so that you can understand how they think. And I can tell you that a lot of business owners, they are not really trying to make more money. They just want to be doing better than they have been last year. I have lost count of how many freelancers I've told this to and how many people that want to run ads for people where they are like, oh, what should I promise them? Should I promise them 50 new clients per month? I'm going to promise them 50 new clients a month. Okay, nobody can say no to that. That's what I'm going to lead with. And if they don't want that, then I'm going to promise them 60 new clients per month or their money back. And I'm like, but you haven't spoken to the person. And I know Pam wants to jump in here so quickly.
Yeah. I think we're getting into one of our other favorite topics here. I'm going to try not to say too much because I know we're going to talk about this in a different episode.
Yeah.
But you cannot. Oh God, the promise is, even just yesterday again. Oh God, there was so much happening yesterday in a good way. But it's like they promised us all these results, and like they guaranteed us these results. I'm like, no. Like, when we work with clients, our contract literally says we cannot guarantee you anything, right? Because partially there's so many changes happening in the whole ecosystem that we cannot influence, that are out of our hand, right? I can show you the results we've achieved for clients before. I can talk about past like clients that achieve business growth in the past, right? But a big part also of how your ads and how your business is going to perform is you. How is
Yeah.
your mindset? What are the
Yeah.
action steps that you're taking? What are your beliefs, right? And that has so much more impact on anything that you do than just thinking, oh, I'm just going to make money and that's it. That's not how it works.
You got to remember something. NASA doesn't even guarantee astronauts that it's going to get them to the moon. And NASA has the smartest
Yeah.
scientists on Earth.
Yeah.
It does not guarantee that you'll make
Yeah.
it to the moon.
Yeah.
It's going to give you the best chance of making it to the
Yeah.
moon. It's going to use all of its experience to get you there,
Yeah.
but failures still do happen. And the one thing that you want to understand, I want to bring it back to the conversation about landing pages, is when you're creating the landing page, if you can kind of understand the feelings that your client has, it's so much easier. It is so much easier because I know what you're going through because I have these conversations with you. If you do not have conversations with clients and you don't get to know your clients and you don't listen to your clients, and especially when your clients complain, you don't kind of read those reviews and try and figure out where did we go wrong, it's going to be 10 times harder for you to build a landing page. And that's really what the issue is. So with that in mind, I know the most important thing for people when it comes to setting up their Google ads is they want to get it done as fast as possible, but they still want to get it done the right way, right? Now, I could have went here and I could have said the 52 correct settings that you need to get your business profitable in 2025 or 2024. I could have done that. But because I understand business owners, every single business owner I've ever met loves shortcuts. They just want the fastest way to do it. And that's exactly what I'm doing over here. I'm telling them straight away that they can set up their ads like a pro in less than 5 minutes. That's the hook, right? That is kind of the all-encompassing one-liner that's going to help them understand what they are here for and what this product is going to do for them. Now, if you were an electrician, if you were a plumber, Pam, how would they word this differently for their target audience?
I would probably bring in the location definitely of where I'm at, right? So,
Yep.
hey, are you residing in Phoenix? Probably even zip codes or regional, more regional stuff. And are you currently experiencing a leak in your? No, hold on. Let me take a different example. Did you just experience a leakage in your dog grooming store,
Yeah.
right?
Got it.
Guess what? We can help you. We'll be there in 2 hours. Not the most ideal or best copy, but like, and you can probably add, we've helped over 1,000 customers, over 1,000 business owners, just like
Yep.
you in the Phoenix area, solve their leaky whatever solve the leakages within less than 5 hours.
Love it. Absolutely love it. And guys, this is just minimum brain power. We're not like we're not saying you have to write the craziest, best copy that
Yeah,
mankind has ever seen, but
yeah,
you have to give somebody a compelling reason to keep on moving down the page.
yeah,
Now, to give you an example, what I did over here is I just put a thought in their mind. I said the wrong ad settings could
yeah.
be costing you thousands of dollars, right? Everybody has that fear. Everybody has that fear.
And that's not even like for some people they might think, oh, but that's like exaggeration. It's not. It's not. I've literally had clients tell me if I'd a call with you earlier, we would have saved $200,000, right? And made more money on top of
Wow.
that. So it's
That
like,
is crazy.
yeah, so it's like this, yeah, ad stuff. I'm probably being too humble about it, but anyway, this goes to show you, like, sit down and write down like 10 reasons of what would happen to customers if they don't use your product or if they don't use your service, right? So, for example, tax lawyers, love tax lawyers, because a lot of times if you end up with the wrong tax law, you end up wasting for the typical small business owner somewhere between 10 to 50K every year, right?
Ooh,
So a tax
that's a
lawyer,
lot of
honest,
mangoes.
yeah. So a tax lawyer could say, hey, um, we help save our clients an average $15,000 every year because of our proven 3-step system. for example,
Nice. I love
right?
that. I absolutely love that. Now, what I try to do on this page is I try to, number one, show them that the wrong ad settings could be costing them thousands of dollars. But also on the right hand side, you'll notice that I've put a very carefully chosen screenshot, right? I made sure that the conversion rate was super high because obviously that's what clients want. I made sure that they could see that the cost per conversion was super low. And this is screenshots from my actual ad account. I'm not making this stuff up. I'm really getting this in my business. And also, I want to show them that they can get a lot of conversion. So, in other words, you can think about this like kind of an ideal picture or something that will get them to emotionally go, wow, I wish my business or my Google ads would look like that. So we're kind of trying to paint a picture of what an ideal situation might look like for them. And when we go down the landing page, obviously, I'm not going to talk you through every single thing, but another thing that we do is we kind of take them through what they're getting and what the value of it is. Now, it's important that we have this discussion on value because I think a lot of people, especially people in East Asia, value is a very difficult thing for them to grasp.
Hmm.
And not to say that there's anything wrong with people from East Asia. It's just even me as a South African coming from a developing country, it was very difficult to grasp the difference between value and price.
I would say it's the same for most Southern African countries as well, right? Where they just look at what does it cost me, but
Yes.
they don't look at what's the value in it for me, right? Like I can I can spend $100 every month on a website subscription service that says they manage my website and everything, because it's cheap, but I lose out on a lot of potential customers. Let's say one customer is worth like 10K to me, right? I could lose out on getting a lot of these 10K customers because my SEO isn't optimized, because that cheap $100 option doesn't even offer basic SEO services, or the back end of the website is so broken that I cannot use basic tracking mechanisms, right?
Yeah.
So you might get something for very cheap, but what you're losing out on is revenue that could probably double or even triple your business.
Yeah. I was talking to one of my friends about moving to this beautiful area in Cape Town. It's called Greenpoint. And I said to my friend, I would love to live in Greenpoint. And he asked how much is rent. And I said, rent over there is like 50,000 Rand per month. So our average rent in South Africa would probably be about 7 or 8. This place is about 50,000 Rand per month. And my friend was like, whoa, that is like crazy money. I would never spend that amount of money. Can't you just live like out of the city on the outskirts and stuff like that? And I said to him, you're looking at it the wrong way. I want you to think about, if I'm living in that area and I pay that rent, imagine how many people around me are more affluent than me. How many people more own businesses that are way more successful than me because it's an affluent area. So what I'm losing in paying for rent every single month, I'm gaining by spending time with people who are multi-millionaires and maybe even billionaires just by living in the same area. So the cost is relatively small when I look at how much value that would be for me. And that's kind of the conversation that you need to have around your product or your service.
Yeah, and a very easy example about this, I saw this recently. I think Cody Sanchez posted on her Instagram. She's like, you can buy a bottle of water in the supermarket and it's going to cost you 30 cents. You can buy a bottle of water at the gas stations, cost you $1. You can buy a bottle of water at the airport, it's going to cost you $2. You can buy a bottle of water in the airplane, it's going to cost you $5. Where you put that bottle of water is going to have different value for each person, and they're going
Yeah,
to pay the price accordingly, right? So
yeah,
keep that in mind of your service. So where you put what you put on your landing page is going to determine the value that people perceive about your business or product.
yeah. That is super true. That is super true. And with that being said, we're going to go to an ad break. When we come up, we're going to wrap this up. We're going to just talk you through the rest of the ingredients that you need to design the perfect landing page for your business. So stay tuned. If I can find the ad.
Now, 9 years ago, I used to work at Google, and 8 years ago, I founded my own ad agency, Ajala Digital. And since then, we've helped over 3,000 advertisers all over the world grow with Google Ads. No matter where they're based on this globe, they have one challenge in common. They are usually tired of having to figure it all out on their own with ads and not getting the return that they are looking for. If you're currently tired of your ads, if you're tired of figuring it out on your own, and you need help of a real specialist and expert, then feel free to reach out. Check the link in the description below.
Thank you, other Pamela. We appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Oh. Can I just say your ad came out so much better than mine? You're so elegant and so graceful with your words. Me, I always feel like I'm. How many takes?
I think,
How many takes did it take?
where did I record that? I don't even remember. Yeah. I don't even remember, but thank you. I'll take it. I'm going to practice on taking in that compliment.
I'll tell you this funny story. I've got this video coming out tomorrow where I cut cakes to explain bidding strategies. Like I'm literally, I got 2 cakes in front of me and I'm showing maximize clicks versus maximize conversions.
Perfect.
So it is super cool. Like it is super cool. So now we buy the cakes, and usually when I do these takes on camera, it takes me about, I don't know, I'd have to ask Maria, but it probably takes me about 12 or 13 times to get it, done properly. And I thought to myself, if I have to cut 13 cakes 13 cakes to get this right, that's not going to work. So eventually I've got Maria next to me on camera. I've got Maria's nephew on the other side holding the other camera, and I'm like, you have to get this right. And I did it. Like I spoke for 5 minutes.
Takes a village.
Perfect. It came out so beautifully.
Yeah.
I didn't mess up once, so I'm super proud of myself. By the way, get that video, get it tomorrow. Pam, I'll send it to you as well. It's funny, but it's really good. It's really
Thank you.
good.
Yes, please. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, cool. Now, I actually thought about something that I want to show you guys. Notice how I kind of dressed up the screenshots from the product over here. Notice how I put this laptop over here and I put this these kind of mock-ups of what it would look like on the iPad. And I've also put this mock-up over here of what the product would look like on the desk as well. Now, the problem for a lot of people is, and I see this when I deal with consulting clients a lot, is they like to show the couch, or they like to show the screwdriver, or they like to show the tool because they're so proud that they made the tool. But they do not show it in the hands of the customer. Where is it going to live in your customer's house? How will your customer's life be with it? So, for example, I had one realtor who specializes in finding homes for people. It's very good at what he does. And he had a couple of pictures of empty homes, like new apartments, beautiful apartments, but empty. You don't want to do that. You want to show a couple who just moved into the apartment and they're so excited with a little dog, because you want the client, the ideal client, the person who clicks on your ads, to imagine their life with your product. It's important. And here's another thing that we do. We've went through, we show them the product over here, the product over here. The last thing, now I'm kind of a special case. I know not everybody is the hero of their business, but a business does a lot better when it has a face, or when it has someone that people can see, that they can understand who's behind the business. Now, I understand not many of you are in that situation, but I've met so many people that are actually the face of the business, and they just don't want to show their face anywhere because they're scared that people will see them, judge them, and then not buy the thing that they're selling.
I think even showing the face, I think it took me a long time too. Even though I had it early, but even on the website, like I had removed it in the meantime, and then thank God to your input, I put it back again. But I want to know, when I see your product, does that apply to me? Can I use it? Right. So that's why also you want to make sure that even if you don't use your own picture, use pictures of people that resonate, your people that have the same features, right? Like we use women, use men, use a certain ethnicity, use a certain age group, and so on, right? So, for example, for one of our clients, an acupuncturist, when we talk about trigeminal neuralgia, and I hope I'm getting this right now, I think that's a pain that's mostly on one side of the head. Please don't quote me on this. I'm not that, but I know we got to write on the landing page. There's a whole bunch of like
If
different.
we have
symptoms.
any doctors in the comment section, they'll correct you. So it's
yes,
good.
yes,
Continue.
please correct me. And I think that's one where the pain is either on the left or right hand side of the head, right? And so obviously we don't want to use a picture with somebody who's holding their hip. So we make sure we use pictures with somebody who's holding their head, right?
Okay.
So, a live example of how that looks like.
Wow. Yeah. And the last thing that we're going to touch on, because we don't have any, well, guys, we've done a whole 2-hour roast, 2.5-hour roast of landing pages. If you want to see us really get into it and really rip up some landing pages and show you exactly how to change and what to do, what we're going to do is I'll link that down below. But the last thing I think it's very important to talk about, because we've shown you basically ad copy is important, design is important, showcasing where the pain is coming from, and really understanding the client is very important. The last thing that we have to talk about, and it's probably what makes 60% of the buying decision, is social proof. Pam, do you want to talk a little bit about social proof?
That's probably one of my favorites, because growing up very humbly in Austria, I was always told, don't talk about yourself, let other people talk about you. If you do good work, other people will talk about you.
Yes.
To a certain extent, that is true. If you're an entrepreneur, you'll have to put yourself out there a little bit more. But people going to care less what you say about yourself, and they're going to care more about what other people say about you, right? It's that very ancient tribal thinking, that word of mouth, right? Did Peter say that Paul did it well? Oh, then I think, Paul's going to do well, right?
Yeah.
And you need to ask for that. Don't just wait for people to come. So if you grew up in a very humble culture, ask your customers to leave your reviews, to submit a video review, to leave a review on Google, and so on, right? And when you add those reviews on your website, make sure you add 5 stars, 5 yellow stars, right? That little picture is very important. And that way other customers can get a feeling for, hey, what do other people actually say about you? And also it will help you improve your copy, getting back to copy, right? Because you're going to get a feeling of how other people are going to phrase what you do better than you probably can yourself.
I told one of my clients the exact same words that you said. And my client said to me, what's the point? All the reviews are fake anyway. So why should I have some on my website?
Oh, that's a good one. I get a similar question almost every single time I do my class at university. Because my students, I tell you, I get this question every single year. They're like, so is it okay to use fake reviews? And I'm like, no,
No,
never.
You can't. Never.
No.
Ever.
And, yeah. And even if you just get started, I mean, have somebody in your friendship circle use your product and use their name, right? There's always people you find in the beginning, right? I could not sleep well if I was using fake reviews. And if other people do that, it doesn't mean you should do it too, right? Like, if everybody else of your competitors jumps from the bridge, you think you should jump too? Probably not, right? So, trust me, you're going to have a better consciousness, you're going to have a better life, you're going to have better sleep if you use those real reviews, right?
Yeah.
I even oh God, not even a month ago, I had this too with an entrepreneur who's been quite experienced, and he showed me his new landing page. And I was like, oh, so because the images looked very, very generated, let's put it that way. I was like, who wrote this? Oh, they're like fake reviews. I was like, do me one freaking favor. Do not publish this landing page with these fake reviews. And in that moment, I cannot forget that moment. He has lost half of my credibility. Because now I'm like, I cannot trust you anymore.
Yeah.
Because you already came with that idea, right? So people's trust these days is something you shouldn't take lightly. You shouldn't take it for granted. But if you build it up day over day, it's going to pay off over time so much in ways that's unmeasurable.
And the one thing that I'll say is The one
Me
thing I'll
know
say
English
that
today.
to add to that is you should think about it this way, right? Let's think about it normally. You come on a website. There's two websites that you're looking at. They both sell the same product or they both have the same service. Let's say both of them are electricians. The first one has a review that says, Bob is really good. The second one has a review that says, Peter's so wonderful. He came up to my house. We arrived for the appointment early. He had all the tools necessary to do the jobs. Not only that, but he was so nice to my kids. He was even nice to the dog. And when he left, I haven't had electrical problems since. I mean, guys, it's obvious. Now, Peter can charge 3 times more than Bob. Bob is going to be scratching his head because how is this guy getting it right? And this is literally how other customers or how other businesses are destroying you. They're not destroying you with a better service per se. They just have more social proof that they are who they say they are. They are not better than you. They do not run a better service than you, but they have more social proof that they are who they say they are.
Yeah.
So the question I think all of us need to do that soul searching and ask yourself is, does this website, does this landing page, does what I'm selling, does it reflect who I am? Or does it feel like I'm putting on a bit of a show?
And be genuine with yourself, right? I think there's the other extreme of entrepreneurs that I also meet that say, like, when I get a review, like, I think to myself, but it can't be that good. That's not true. That's not me. Like, they don't even dare to read a review because they don't believe in themselves. They feel
Yeah.
so uncomfortable with that, right?
Yep.
So you have to do a certain job to start feeling comfortable with getting compliments, with knowing that you actually have an impact in people's lives if you do your job properly, right?
Yeah.
And it's okay to put that out there because otherwise, if people are not going to hear about you, how are they going to know about your business, right?
And it comes back to me and Pam. We keep on talking about this. The conversation that you have on the inside is the conversation that's going to reflect on the outside for the world to see. If you keep on telling yourself, I need to be the cheapest, I need to be the cheapest, all they care about is the price, all they care about is the price, guess what? You're going to attract the cheapest customers on planet Earth that do not want to pay you on time or pay you at all. They are going to try and wiggle their way out of everything. And you're going to ask yourself, why does this keep on happening to me? How do I keep on attracting these people? It's because your internal conversation says, I need to be the cheapest.
Yeah. And life typically isn't better the cheap way. So
Yeah. Life is not good at all the cheap way. Even
Nope.
the cheapest condoms don't work. So don't, please, people, don't.
You gotta get this video disapproved.
Oh, there goes all of our ad revenue. But anyway, I had to say it. But anyway, in closing, I don't want you to make the cheapest landing page. I don't want you to take shortcuts. I want you to really think about this. If this landing page, if you're going to spend $30,000, $200,000 on the landing page, doesn't it make sense to spend $5,000 to get the landing page right? I mean, just think about it, like in just apples to apples comparison. If you're going to spend that much money on ads that go to a place, don't you want the place where the ads go to actually look so amazing that people say yes to you? So make sure you invest in the right places with your landing page. That's my final words. Pam, do you have anything to add to that?
In good old Nike's fashion, how we started this, just do it.
Just do it. I love it. I absolutely love it. So, guys, that has been it for this Words Up podcast episode. We really appreciate you being with us. Like we said, leave all questions that you have below. Also, be sure to click on that video on screen now, and we'll see you in the next episode. Peace.